Hello everyone, Gail Gunn here with Energy Organizing. This week I would like to share more with you on defining clutter and what that might look like for you, as well as the top 5 possible contributing factors for the clutter to accumulate in your space. And next week we'll talk about the 5 possible reasons the clutter hangs around. The way that I think about clutter was actually inspired by my grandmother. When I was a little girl, she used to ask me to help her weed the garden, and I didn't actually know what a weed was. I mean, I think there is a difference. Any gardener knows that there's a difference between a weed and an intentional flower or something. Even if it's a wildflower, there still is a difference between something that's considered a weed and a flower. And it didn't matter if it was a rose bush or, what else did she have? Marigolds or daisies, or even dandelions for that matter. Because when people look at dandelions, some do see a weed, some see a wish. That's one of my favorite quotes. But anyway, it was about a weed being anything growing where you don't want it. Now, of course, for being able to help her, I did need to learn the difference between what she had intentionally planted and what needed to be pulled out of the ground. But this actually, fast forward to when I started my business, this was the inspiration for how I think about clutter. Because oftentimes people think of clutter as something that they don't want, don't need, don't use, broken things, or any number of things. But clutter can also be things that we love. We just don't love where it's living in our house. I even struggle with that sometimes, where if you were to take a look around my house, sometimes it feels cluttered because the things that belong in their homes have kind of matriculated out of their homes, and so they need to be put back. But the point is, something to think about with clutter is that, is it something that you don't need, don't want, don't use, or won't use, or is it something that you absolutely love? When you look at it, you're like, oh, it doesn't belong there, and it needs to be relocated to a place that you do love. So clutter can be anything accumulating where you don't want it. Another way to think about clutter is that clutter is a physical manifestation of an internal struggle. And oftentimes it does stem from a traumatic experience, but not always. That isn't always the case. There are other contributing factors to what may be causing the clutter in your space, and that's what I'd like to share with you this week. And so each day this week, I'm going to share the top 5, in no particular order, the top 5 things that I have experienced in my own life as well as my client's life as the contributing factor for the clutter in their space. So this was just the introduction to give you 2 ways to think about clutter. Which is anything accumulating where you don't want it, and or a result of one of these things that I will share later this week. So thank you for watching, thank you for joining, and I hope you will tune back in later today and the rest of this week for the top 5 things that may be contributing to the clutter in your space. And if you want expert guidance and or assistance with any of the things that we talk about in our videos, please feel free to reach out, as I would love to be able to help further assist you with the specific needs of your space. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video.